What's up? Chelsea Sherrod inside the PNC Bank Sports Corner, joined by Zach Cox, who's out in Philadelphia for the Patriots' first joint practice with the Eagles. And Zach, first of all, let's talk about the energy out there. How was it for the guys to be able to go up against another squad?
Yeah, I know the players were all looking forward to this week and next week when the Patriots finally get to see some different faces and some different color uniforms out there on the practice field. You can imagine it gets pretty old hitting the same guys every day for 2 or 3 weeks. But I actually thought the Eagles had a little bit higher energy in this practice. I don't know if it was just because they were in their own facility, they were in kind of familiar surroundings. But I think that they were the more energetic and the more physical team in this practice, especially up front. We saw the Eagles defensive line really take it to the Patriots offensive line for large stretches of this practice. And you definitely saw a bit more enthusiasm, I think, from the Eagles players. Be very interested to see whether we see a shift in that tomorrow, because all of these same players will be back out on the practice field again for round 2 in a couple hours.
Yes, and so we've definitely got to talk about Cam Newton and Mac Jones, of course. We did see some footage of Mac wearing a knee brace or sleeve today. What can you tell us about that, if anything? But overall, whose production was better today out of the two?
Yeah, we asked Mac Jones about that knee brace after practice. He said it's something he's just doing as sort of a protective measure or precautionary measure. He said it didn't have anything to do with any specific injury. He said he was just kind of trying it out to sort of protect himself in the future moving forward. As for their performances today, I thought Mac had the sharper day of the two quarterbacks. It was an uneven day for both of them, which has been the case in a lot of training camp practices since the beginning of the summer. But I liked what I saw from Jones, especially earlier in the practice. He had a couple long hookups with Nelson Aguilar, who had a really good day today. Just seemed to be getting the ball out quicker, attacking downfield a little bit more than Cam Newton was. He did fade a little bit toward the end of practice, which also has been an issue for Jones, but he came back strong on his final throw with a touchdown pass to N'Keal Harry. So I would say overall, I don't think that this is going to be a day that either quarterback views as a kind of resounding win for himself. But if I had to pick a winner of the two, I would say Jones had the better day than Newton.
Okay. Hunter Henry was seen in pads for the first time since his shoulder injury last week. What was the tight end's level of participation like today?
Very low. The fact that he was back in pads is obviously a good sign, a step in the right direction as he comes back from that shoulder injury that he suffered just over a week ago. But yeah, Hunter Henry didn't really do anything at all today. He strapped the pads on, warmed up a little bit, then split off and worked with strength coach Moses Cabrera on a separate field. So no team drills, no competitive drills of any nature for Hunter Henry, but a step in the right direction for the tight end. Jonnu Smith, who suffered an ankle injury yesterday, he was at practice today. He was observing, was not in pads, did not participate, but the fact that he even made the trip down here is definitely a positive sign for him. And the Patriots tight end depth overall today was extremely weak because Henry was not participating, Jonnu Smith was not participating, and then Matt Lacoste got knocked out of practice about 10-15 minutes in on a really hard hit by Derek Barnett, the Eagles defensive end. So the Patriots are really down to Devin Asiasi and Troy Fumagalli as their only tight ends for almost all of this practice today. And since the tight end position is expected to be a huge part of this Patriots offense this season, that's something that they definitely are going to need to remedy moving forward. They got to get some of those guys back on the field.
Now let's talk about the wide receivers. A couple players who did a bunch today. N'Keal Harry has been consistent throughout training camp, and Nelson Aguilar made his return to Philly today. How did each of them look in practice?
Yeah, I think Nelson Aguilar was probably the Patriots' best offensive player in this practice, and that's really a positive development for him because he's a guy got a big contract over the offseason, had one really productive day early in training camp, but then we didn't see much from him at all for over a week in Patriots training camp when they were back in Foxborough. He was dealing with an undisclosed injury, just wasn't that active in team drills, but he was extremely active today. He caught, I believe it was 5 passes overall in 11 on 11s and 7 on 7s, including a couple long touchdowns. Made a couple nice catches over some Eagles defenders. He had to be motivated coming in here, considering the way that his Eagles tenure ended a couple of years back. So I thought he had a really strong day. As for N'Keal Harry, I thought he really stood out in one-on-one drills. He won all 5 of the one-on-one reps, that I saw him participate in. Didn't see much from him in team drills until the very end. He did catch a touchdown pass, as I mentioned, from Mac Jones on Jones' final pass of practice. But that's kind of been the case with N'Keal Harry for a lot of this summer, a lot of this training camp. Those splashy catches, the highlight reel plays and one-on-ones, but not really being as involved as you want him to be in those team drills and those 11 on 11. So I think that's going to be the big focus here for N'Keal Harry as the Patriots go through these final couple weeks before cutdown day.
Absolutely, and we will be looking forward to seeing them in action in their preseason game on Thursday. Zach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
PNC Bank, helping to make banking easier.